Hey Ed, I heard when some people go to Hollywood, they just never return.
Yeah, there's a lot of spooky stuff in the Hollywood area. You'd be surprised.
Oh yeah?
Actually, we got a case coming up called the Dark Dahlia. That one's real interesting because it's kind of creepy and it's kind of unsolved.
Wow.
And I think for Halloween, by the way, happy Halloween. It's Halloween month. We're going to do
Happy
some spooky,
Halloween.
weird stuff. This is one coming up, the Dark Dahlia. And on this special occasion, we're going to kick you off with a special intro. What was that?
Boo.
Oh, that was our black cat. Okay, that was creepy. I hope you guys
Yeah.
heard that. But that kind of
I know
gets
it's
on
creepy
edge.
stuff over here.
Oh my goodness. But we'll be
Halloween time.
we'll be right back.
We got
And
that.
this is our Halloween intro that we did last year. We brought it back for you.
I just came back from visiting Hollywood. It's so nice out there.
Glad you had a good time in California.
What are we working on today?
The Black Dahlia case of 1947. The unsolved murder of Elizabeth Short in LA that sparked decades of speculation and conspiracy theories.
These unsolved cases are so interesting. Let's get started.
Yes, let's
They
get
are
started.
interesting,
But
but I want them to be solved.
Yeah, and before we get started, let's introduce ourselves to those
It's your
people.
girl Shiva.
And I'm Ed. Sorry for that long intro there. Usually we get right into it, so I appreciate your patience. But it's Halloween, so we're going to have kind of some spooky or weird cases. We got 5 Thursdays in this month, so we're doing vampires, and I think later we're doing some zombie cases, all kinds of stuff. But
some
today
interesting stuff.
is real interesting. But before we get into it,
Yes, this is for education and entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research and always be kind to everyone, everywhere.
yeah, that's right. I appreciate it. Thank you. Good job. And then here and there, we're hearing weird noises. It sounds like our cat, Boo. We have a black cat named Boo, which is perfect for the Halloween season. Actually, I picked her up. She's a rescue, and I got her
on
many years
Halloween.
ago around Halloween time. So anyhow, so we're going to talk about the Dark Dahlia. So this one, people say, what is this one? What's going on? So this is a case that happened in the 40s. And sometimes I like to bring, because around Halloween time, people tend to do the same shows all the time.
Right, be unique. You want
And I want to do something a little different, because I almost got tempted to do Lizzie Borden and some of these other ones. And we did some of the popular ones last year, but I said, I want to do something different. So this one's out of Hollywood. It's kind of interesting in, way that she's
let's get
murdered.
started.
And yeah, let's get going. So the crime force is going to give us the background, and let me stop
Investigation
talking, and they'll kick it off.
The Black Dahlia murder took place on January 15, 1947, in Los Angeles, California. The victim was Elizabeth Short, and the case is considered
Beautiful
unsolved.
woman.
Elizabeth Short was born on July 29, 1924, in Boston, Massachusetts.
Oh, near us.
She had a difficult childhood. Her father abandoned the family when she was young, and she moved frequently. Her mother, Phoebe Short, worked multiple jobs to support Elizabeth and her sisters, and Elizabeth spent much of her childhood in Medford, Massachusetts. As a teenager, she suffered from severe asthma and lung issues, prompting her mother to send her to Miami, Florida, during the winters to escape the harsh cold.
I wish I did that.
That
She
was
spent
nice.
several winters in Florida, where she developed a love for movies, fashion, and glamour.
Can imagine.
Like many young women of the 1940s, Elizabeth was drawn to the bright lights of Hollywood. She idolized movie stars and dreamed of becoming an actress. At 18, she briefly moved to Vallejo, California, to reunite with her father, who had resurfaced and invited her to stay with him. However, their relationship quickly fell apart due to frequent arguments about her lifestyle, and she left after just a few months.
Wow.
During World War II, Elizabeth dated several servicemen, hoping to marry a soldier and find security. One of her most serious relationships was with Major Matthew Michael Gordon Jr., an Army Air Force officer. He proposed to her in 1945, but tragically, he was killed in a plane crash before they could marry.
That is
This
sad.
loss reportedly devastated Elizabeth. She continued drifting between cities, living in Los Angeles, San Diego, and Miami, often relying on friends, acquaintances, and admirers to help support her. She had a reputation for dating men who could offer her stability but never stayed in one place for long. Elizabeth was known for her dark, wavy hair, porcelain skin, and elegant sense of style. She often dressed in black outfits, which some believe contributed to her later nickname, the Black Dahlia. She spent time in Hollywood's nightlife scene, frequenting bars, clubs, and restaurants, where she met men who were enchanted by her beauty. Despite rumors, there is no evidence that she was a prostitute, though some newspapers at the time painted her as one. She did, however, struggle financially, often staying with different men who provided her with food and shelter. In the months leading up to her murder, Elizabeth had been living in Los Angeles, bouncing between cheap hotels, acquaintances' homes, and nightclubs. Her final known sighting was on January 9,
She didn't do any shows,
1947,
though, right?
at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown LA, where she was seen talking to an unknown man. 6 days later, her mutilated body was discovered in a vacant lot.
Oops. I know sometimes I mess that up. I'm so sorry. So anyhow, that gives a background. Yeah, she was into that Hollywood lifestyle.
Yeah.
I forgot if she did some
I don't think she did any roles.
I
'cause
can't remember.
I think that would have been definitely something that should have been mentioned
I can't remember.
to Crime Force.
Yeah, I don't remember. We're so focused on the crime part. Should have had more of the... We don't do the long story stuff. We're going to get into the crime, which is next.
On the morning of January 15th, 1947, a woman named Betty Berzinger was walking with her 3-year-old daughter in Leimert Park, Los Angeles, when she spotted what she initially thought was a discarded store mannequin. However, as she got closer, she made a horrifying discovery. It was the brutally mutilated body of a young woman, later identified as Elizabeth Short. Crime scene details. Elizabeth Short's body was severed in half at the waist and had been completely drained of blood, leaving her corpse pale white. There was no blood at the crime scene, indicating that she had been murdered elsewhere and then transported to the lot.
That's what they
Her
do.
body was posed in a grotesque manner. Her arms were raised above her head. Her legs were spread apart, a clear indication of humiliation. Her mouth had been slashed from ear to ear, giving her the infamous Glasgow smile. Her body showed signs of prolonged torture before death. Key mutilations and injuries. Bisection at the waist. The cut was surgically precise, leading investigators to suspect a person with medical training, such as a doctor or butcher. The technique used was similar to a hemicorporectomy, a medical procedure that was uncommon but known in surgical fields. In addition, there was facial mutilation, torture marks, defensive wounds, and signs she was essayed. The Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, immediately began one of the most extensive investigations in its history, with over 750 officers and detectives assigned to the case.
That's a lot.
No immediate suspects emerged. The autopsy confirmed that Elizabeth had died from hemorrhaging caused by the facial lacerations and blunt force trauma to the head. She had been alive for some of the torture, meaning the killer took their time inflicting suffering before finally killing her. A week after the murder, on January 21, 1947, the Los Angeles Examiner newspaper received a chilling letter from the alleged killer. The letter was assembled using cutout words from magazines and read, "Here is Dahlia's belongings, letter to follow." The envelope contained Elizabeth Short's birth certificate, social security card, photos, and an address book with several pages torn out. The fact that the killer had her personal belongings strongly suggested that this was no hoax. The LAPD believed the killer was toying with them, much like later serial killers would do.
So now you know. Now you know why we put this in for Halloween, because like the scary, creepy stuff, because it is really disturbing.
It is disturbing. And one thing is, you can tell that the the person that actually did this had, I guess, was angry, and you can tell from the way he actually, he took his time and he actually tortured her. So he had some anger, maybe anger with her, because maybe who knows if they were in a relationship or not. But it's just sad that how this is still unsolved.
Okay.
After they said what 700 or so, how many people was on it? I don't know. I think they went to yeah. I don't think it was that many, but not that many. But it was probably a good 6 or 7.
Let's hear the suspects and theories. I want to hear this, because this was really wild, because they never caught the person.
Over the years, many theories have emerged regarding Elizabeth Short's killer. Some of the most notable suspects include Dr. George Hodel, a wealthy physician with a sinister past. His own son, Steve Hodel, a retired LAPD detective, believes his father committed the crime.
Oh, wow.
Hodel's home had a secret room that might have been used for torture. A police wiretap allegedly caught him saying, "Supposin' I did kill the Black Dahlia." They couldn't prove it now. Next we have Mark Hansen, a nightclub owner and Hollywood insider. Elizabeth allegedly stayed at his house at one point. Her address book was found in one of the taunting letters sent to the police. Then we have Walter Bailey, a surgeon with knowledge of how to sever a body cleanly and without excessive blood loss, just like Short's body. And lastly, Leslie Dillon, a bellhop with suspicious knowledge of the crime. He was briefly detained but never charged.
Could be a
Theories
combination
on
too.
the killer's motive. A sadistic serial killer? Some believe that Elizabeth Short was the victim of a psychopath who had killed before and possibly after. The precise cuts and ritualistic posing suggest a methodical, experienced murderer. A personal attack? Others argue the murder was not random and that Short knew her killer. The intense violence and humiliation could indicate a crime of passion or revenge. An elite cover-up? A theory emerged that wealthy men or Hollywood insiders were involved and protected by corrupt LAPD officers. Some believe Short was lured into the underground world of Los Angeles' elite, where she was used, discarded, and silenced. So now I know you're probably thinking, so why was it never solved? Many believe that police corruption and media interference led to the case going cold. The LAPD was dealing with internal scandals, and some officers were rumored to be involved in covering up for powerful people.
Wow.
Additionally, evidence went missing, and reports suggest that key suspects had connections with influential figures who may have helped them escape justice. No solid DNA evidence. Forensic technology in the 1940s was limited, making it nearly impossible to definitively link suspects to the crime. In conclusion, Elizabeth Short's horrific death, marked by surgical precision, sadistic torture, and eerie posing, captured the public's imagination and inspired countless theories, books, and films. Despite a massive investigation and numerous suspects, including wealthy doctors, Hollywood insiders, and possible serial killers, no one was ever charged, leaving the case shrouded in speculation and secrecy. Whether her killer was a lone psychopath, a powerful figure protected by corruption, or someone she knew, the truth remains elusive. Over 75 years later, the legend of the Black Dahlia endures, a dark reminder of Los Angeles' hidden horrors and a crime that may never be solved.
Thank you, Crime Force, again, as usual, doing a great job with the information. Yeah, we didn't go through the whole story, but I can give a little bit of an update. So, a couple things there. So, to your question, and we didn't go on, because a lot of times, some of these stories, there's so much background, it takes up a lot. I know we tend to dive right into the case, but to make a long story short, as she mentioned, she was like many of the people at the time, even before that in the 20s and 30s, even today, that went out to LA or would go to Miami, go to these places. And she was like a wannabe. She was like a wannabe Hollywood star. So she would go to the nightclubs and she would hang around where there was actors there and people, and she would try to get in. You could see there's some photo shoots. I don't know if they were professional, but she tried to make it into the business, but there's no proof that she ever got really a role or got a shot. I guess she more worked as a waitress. So she was like many, when how many people do it? There's like maybe 100,000 that go and maybe one gets in. So
Exactly.
yeah, that's where her role was in there. But she lived in that lifestyle and she circulated, she hung around those types of people and where she was at. But it's really disgusting and disturbing, the crime.
Yeah, like they said, basically, she was definitely with maybe a lot of men,
Hmm.
because she wanted to be, famous, right? She
And she needed
wanted,
people to support her.
yep. And so I guess who knows? They could have promised her a false future, and she just like basically went with it. But it's really sad because technically, what happened to her seemed like it was out of like anger. I mean, like
Personal.
why? Yeah, personal anger. Why would they torture her like that? And just like her face, it just all distorted. It's just disgusting. And these cold cases, I really get angry at them because I really want someone to actually be accountable for what they did to these people.
I mean, I could see them saying why it was a doctor butcher, obviously, because of the extent of being able to take care of, drain it, do
Hmm.
all that stuff. It almost, I know we bring this, I know in my family, there was everything is, oh, it's the mob, it's the mob. But in this case, it could be the mob. It could be something that debts were, because if she was struggling, maybe there's something she didn't want to do, or debts collected, or maybe something went wrong and she was handled this way. I mean, to do the draining and all that, but then to do the thing to the face, I mean, that was just, it's a very, very disturbing case. So sorry, guys, for Halloween. I know it's a little
Yeah.
disgusting,
And
but
there's a lot of cases like this too. I mean,
yeah,
there's tons of
unfortunately,
cases, this is history repeats itself continuously. A lot of people are going out to LA, Hollywood to be, and you'd be surprised what they do just to see, they want to be the next upcoming actress, right?
yep.
Or model or whatever.
Another sad case referred to as the Black Dahlia or the Dark Dahlia, and I thought that was an interesting one
Yeah.
to bring up for this month. But thank you guys so much for being here. Please come back this month. We got a lot more stuff. We got, I think, a zombie crimes coming up later this month, Halloween season. Just be safe out there. Be kind. Any last words?
Yes. Thank you for watching and subscribe, become a member. We would appreciate it. And if you have a show that you want us to cover, members, you can definitely put that in the comments, send us an email, and we will
We'll get to it.
definitely look at it.
Sounds good. Until next time.
Studio 70.